on the clock. Vikings just made their pick. Adam, what can you tell us about him?
He's a raw athlete with a lot of upside, and the question will be, where and when does he hit his ceiling? He's still relatively new to football, as he was a track and field runner for the school his first 3 years of eligibility. He definitely has the body to play any of the skill positions in football, and he may ultimately end up playing a different position than what he's drafted as. I'm sure the coaches will love the athleticism he brings, but first they'll probably try him out in a few different areas before finding his best role.
All right, team is now off the clock. Adam Schefter, can you tell us about their newest player?
When I ask scouts around the league what his biggest asset is, they always point to his father. His dad is a high school coach that knows how to consistently finish in the top of the school's division. And ever since he was able to walk, he's been on the sidelines for every game. Even after he leaves practice at night, he's still getting advice from his dad at home. And from what I've heard from scouts who watched him play, you can tell the extra coaching has helped. Even during interviews at the Combine, I was told by several GMs that he was one of their favorite players to talk to. He has his dad's eye for the game, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him become a coach one day himself. I like him a lot, and he'll be a great addition to the team.
The Jaguars are now on the clock. The Texans are now on the clock.
Said tonight we ain't going out, so
The Patriots are now on the clock.
made, well, they're way too strong, but ain't nobody saying sorry. The speaker's so blown, no one knows what it is, but we keep it on repeat cause we don't
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
the rest of our lives for the rest of our lives, and the rest of tonight for whatever feels right. We're doing it our way, just acting our age. One day we'll look back, just shaking our heads.
The Buccaneers are now on the clock.
Fast to slow down just yet. We're doing it our way, just acting our age. Just acting our age. There's people here.
I see both teams filling out cards. You know what that means? We've got a trade.
We go back,
The Browns are now on the clock.
but we ain't done yet. Trying our best to make it last. Freedom running through us like an open.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Being young and there's still to race. We've got the rest of our lives for the rest of our lives, and the rest of tonight for whatever feels right. We're doing it our way, just acting our age. One day we'll look back, just shaking our heads, but right now we're too fast to slow down just yet. We're doing it our way, just acting our age. Just acting our age. Just acting our age. We're too loud, we're too proud, we're too high to come back down. We don't think, we don't plan, we stay as long as we can. As long as we can. We got the rest of
The Bills are now on the clock.
our lives, and the rest of tonight for whatever feels right.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Our way, just acting our age. One day we'll look back, just shaking our heads.
The Vikings are now on the clock.
To slow down just yet. We're doing it our way, just
The Browns are now on the clock.
acting our age.
The Browns are now on the clock.
Well, wait, looks like both war rooms are feverishly back on the phones. I think that means a trade is coming.